So, hey everybody, and thank you so much for joining the Garden Vegan Investor webinar. It's been a real delight working with the company up to date, all the way up towards the very end of the expression of interest campaign, which is why it's a really opportune time for us to have this investor webinar to answer all your questions, give you a lot more insights into the business as we come up to the launch of the investment offer campaign. So in terms of the structure that we're looking at today, we've just got a bit of a presentation that the Garden of Vegan team are going to be running through at the beginning to give you some insights and history and background into the business, as well as those insights into what the future strategy of the business looks like. Once we've completed that, then we're going to be opening up to a Q&A at the very end. So really, I'd love to encourage every single one of you to use the Q&A feature to ask as many questions as you want, and we will be picking them up, and there will be loads of time to cover these questions. So I think I'll hand over to the Garden of Vegan team to introduce themselves and run through their presentation.
Hey, I'll just get the presentation up. Okay, I'm Damien, the CEO and co-founder. I want to thank everyone for joining today. I'll just say a little bit about myself. So I worked in construction for a while, 12 years, went on a health journey, found out about organics, whole food, plant-based. In that period of 10 months, I lost 40 kilos. And that kind of led me on the path to really look at all avenues to be able to give that opportunity to others. So that's why, for me, it was a reason for starting Garden Vegan.
My name is Mel, and I am Damien's partner of 14 years. And prior to Garden of Vegan, I was in public education for 8 years and really got to see firsthand the implications of the Western diet on the students that I was teaching. And yeah, after seeing Damien go through his health transformation, and we also adopted that diet in my family, and I got to nurse my mum back to health as well. We really knew we were onto something, so we wanted to provide a solution and present this exciting new way of living that we had discovered together. I'll pass it on to Benny.
G'day guys, I'm Ben, and prior to Garden Vegan, I was actually working in the health and fitness industry for 18 years. I had the opportunity to work with thousands of people over that time, both in Australia and internationally, and also people with chronic illness. I have actually been vegan for 6 years now. Damien was actually one of my clients. That's how we met. And Damien, Mel and I got together and really wanted to create something where we could really help educate people and bring healthy living to Australians to have the opportunity to really improve their health as much as possible. And I'll pass it on to Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Ryan. I'm the business advisor at the Garden of Vegan. So my background, I've had a corporate career for a majority of it. And in the last 4 years, I've been working in the startup space. And in particular in the plant-based fields, very passionate about not only business success, but also making sure that when you've been successful and growing, that you're making a difference in sustainability and everything you touch. So really, really pleased to be part of the team.
So our why behind Garden of Vegan, so it was really based on the nutritional philosophy of a whole food plant-based diet, which is the one diet that has been scientifically proven to not only prevent, manage, but also reverse so many common chronic diseases and illnesses out there. And I'm sure we all know someone who is dealing with one of those chronic diseases or illnesses, and we feel that this is the best diet and lifestyle that you can adopt to help address those concerns, which is the foundation of our brand.
So our vision is to inspire this and future generations to improve their health and reduce our impact on Mother Earth by making more conscious decisions when it comes to what we consume.
And our mission is to empower Australians to achieve optimal health by providing the healthiest organic, plant-based, ready-made meals and nutrition solutions, but also do it in a sustainable way.
So this is a little bit about our business, some insights, and our role that we foresee ourselves to be as the brand leaders. So in short, our consumer is a health conscious individual looking to either improve their health or that is just super time poor and values a quality product. to narrow down a little bit there, I've got some statistics there with 50% of Australians living with one or more chronic health conditions. And this next one really intrigued me, with 6.1% of adults and 8.5% of children eating the recommended amount of fruit and vegetables, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, our goal from a consumer perspective is just to make healthy eating not only inviting and taste good, but really accessible for all Australians, and do it the right way.
Our company in that sense is we are one of the first, or 100% organic, whole food plant-based. One of the key things for us as well is we don't use any oil in our cooking. We also are gluten-free, and we don't use refined sugars. So in that sense, we're leading the way in this way of meal delivery. And our goal is to pretty much offer that to as many Australians as possible.
We're going to go into culture now. So culture is something that I'm really passionate about. Culture is really what unites us as humans. And unfortunately, the day and age we're living in now, it's run by big companies that are producing cheap quality food that's lacking nutrition. It's food that's just put together to feed the masses, really. And people have really lost that touch of how food's grown, where it comes from, and really how to get themselves optimal health. And what we want to do, and what our mission is, to really start educating people about optimal health, longevity, how their food's grown, where it's come from, and the best possible way they can live.
Yeah, and when we're looking at Gardener Vegan and where the brand can go or what markets we compete in, we see it as quite broad. We see that we're in the health market, so it's a $25 billion market. It's growing fast. 89% of Australians are saying they want to be healthier. So a very broad market, and we get down to organics. So with a subset of that, it's a $2.5 billion industry, and also growing rapidly. The awareness around organics is growing very fast. People are learning more and more about the impact that has on their health and the impact on the nutritional aspects of the food. So, and then even onto, you hear the guys talk about let food be thy medicine. The awareness of that is huge. So we also consider complementary medicine as a part of that category. So when we think about where the brand can go and what the future looks like, we consider that as well, even though we might not be competing directly in it now, but we see that as something that we can keep growing in. Then, of course, our core at the moment is ready-to-eat meals. This is a $1.6 billion industry in Australia. So we know some of these mainstream brands, My Muscle Chef, You Foods, even into areas like HelloFresh, Marley Spoon. So all these companies are providing these, meals that people are after. As Mel said before, they want, convenience. More and more people want fast, want to do this fast. We'll hear a little bit more about this in the next couple of slides, but they want the convenience of a great healthy meal that they can cook. And, as we've said, we're really at the top of the tree about what people are after. It's a nice broad categories, big trends that people are heading towards, and gives the company a lot of excitement around where we can be, where we can be in the short term, medium and longer term.
So this here is just a little snapshot of our brand DNA, I guess you could call it. So it starts in the centre with our brand promise being Australia's healthiest ready-made meals. And I guess we can say hand in our heart that we do feel like we are providing the healthiest option that there is out there being sourced and produced. You've heard our vision and our mission statement, and then that trickles into our values as a company. I'm not going to read through all these dot points. You can have a read through them there, but we really do care about the people we work with, not just our suppliers, but our staff. And a big one there that I want your hands dirty. We do active work in the community with the time and resources that we do have to really give back to those in need. Examples are our donations to Oz Harvest Weekly, food scraps to animal sanctuaries, and recently some of our farmers got affected by the floods early this year, which we went down there and gave our time. So we are trying to really create a brand, not just a company selling a product. Our brand personality is there as well. I'll tap into the customer a little bit more here. So as Nick started to say, our customer primarily is 70% female and are health conscious as well. They care about quality products, they care about sustainability, and they care about the values in their lifestyle. And if that company or brand are meeting them in those values or needs, which is, I guess, where we are very well positioned with Gardener Vegan because we do tick a lot of boxes. Interestingly enough, 48% of our customers don't identify as vegan. And a lot of people choose Gardener Vegan for health reasons first and foremost. Where we've got benefits above, that's a little bit about our difference and where we really are differentiated in the market. So as Damien said earlier, we only use 100% certified organic ingredients. We don't use any additives or preservatives in our food, just real food. You won't see any numbers or anything artificial in there. You'll read the label and it will be real food. Other than that, a few other things to talk to quickly are our points of using filtered water to cook and clean with. And also the fact that we offer more than just a prepared meal as well. We do try to offer a one-stop solution for our customer that is time poor and wants that whole health solution. So things like produce boxes, snacks, and obviously things that meet our brand ethos.
And also our packaging. We've worked really hard with our packaging over the last 3 years. So we've converted to a tray that we're using now, which is made from 100% recycled materials. It's not virgin plastic, it's not single-use plastic. And you'll see later on in the slides, we're going to show you what we want to achieve next year with that. Our boxes are fully recyclable, even our ice packs are fully recyclable as well. And our inner liners, which keep the meals cold for our customers and our consumers, are actually made from recycled paper and are fully compostable. So we're really doing our best to ensure we are the most sustainable company or meal delivery company in Australia.
Okay, some of our key achievements. So as you can see here, obviously it's on the way up, which is great. But we started in December 2018, and basically the first meals went out the door in April 2019, which was obviously a small financial year, which you can see we did 123,000 of sales. That next financial year, we did 1.6 million. So we had a great growth in that first year. The financial year 21, we did 2.6, and then the last financial year we did 3.4. So we, even in the tough times that everyone's gone through, we're still being able to show the growth, and we want to continue that. Over that period as well, we've acquired 11,000 different customers. We do have a strong customer retention, so we're nearly at 50% retention rate, which is great. And we do have a high average order value, which is pretty high. These are the meals sold in that period. So you can see there we've had good growth in the meals we're selling each year. We've also, as Mel mentioned earlier, doing the produce boxes and the pantry items. So we don't market any of those products on any digital platforms or anything like that. So they're just an add-on service that we give our customers. So you can see there over the period, we've done 5,000 produce boxes, and we do pantry items, which are nuts, seeds, legumes, and stuff like that. So, and we've sold 5,000, just over 5,000 individual of those items as well. So we see some real growth in those areas. If we put some marketing and some kind of getting in front of more people, we think that we can do good with that. Here is a bit about the competitor analysis. So as you can see here, we just wanted to show a little bit about our brand compared to industry leaders in the space for ready-to-eat meals. Most of us deliver fresh. We are one of the only ones that do preservative and additive free. Obviously, we're organic, whole foods, all that we said before about oil-free, gluten-free. We offer meal plans as well, so which align with health requirements that people are trying to achieve. So any goals they're trying to achieve with their health, we can offer that as well. And we do have a wide range of vegan options, so in the meal space. So it makes it really, really good for customers that have a bit of opportunity to try different things. And we are always updating that and being seasonal to try to give the customers as much availability as possible. So our business strategy. So I won't go every dot point, but I'll go a bit more into detail here because it's probably what you guys are really wanting to understand. So with marketing, it's probably the bigger area of our strategy for our next 12 months. We have tested this previously and done some larger spend on marketing. We've seen really great growth with that. So we have tested it and know that if we want to take up more market share in those ways, we can. And we know there's a lot of market share to really grab in this ready-to-eat meal space, let alone all the other ones that Nick mentioned. We have also optimized a website. So we just literally in July this year launched our new website, which we've really done that to basically give our customers a way better user experience. Because we do a lot of business with NDIS customers. We wanted to build it so it was very user-friendly to be able to order and be easy to navigate. And it basically helps as well to lifetime value as well. We also see the NDIS space a really key avenue for us as a business. One of those reasons is because we aren't having additives, we aren't having oil, we don't have dairy. A lot of people with chronic health conditions aren't able to eat those things. So one good thing about Garden Vegan, having all those things we don't have in our food allows a wide variety of customers to eat our food. So as Mel mentioned, you don't need to be vegan to eat our food. So it's allowing that opportunity for a wider range of customers that may have health conditions or want to be healthy to really eat our food. In the increased basket that's up there, basically, as we mentioned, we do have the pantry items, the produce boxes. We have already ready to go a wide range of pantry offering we want to offer. We do, because we have national logistics as well, we can offer that kind of direct to door with a wide range of things. So we are working with our delivery partner to really work in ways that we can optimize our boxes and things like that to get the most products into them to basically offer a wider range in pantry, in produce, in just choosing your own product of say one avocado, one pumpkin. So there is opportunity for that to grow as well. It says there as well, meal plan expansion. So we basically have a small range, but we do have avenues to grow that a lot larger as well. With our efficiency, so we're always working in our production to ways that we can make the meal, I don't say cheaper, but in a sense, cheaper, but also keeping the quality. So how can we buy new equipment? How can we make things quicker? How do we really refine things to help on that bottom dollar to make it more efficient? What else do we have there? We also want to strengthen our relationships with the farmers. So a big push we want to do in 2023 is really build that rapport and relationship where we're going straight to the farmers, which we do now, but we want to really grow that within our business. So it's getting out there, getting to these farmers, telling them what we need them to grow for us each year and building that relationship. So then they know that they've got supply for us, that they're ongoing every year to grow. And then we know as well for efficiencies and reliability that we can rely on those farmers to get that product. What else we got? And also improving volume. So that's the big key for us is as we grow, it helps massively on becoming more efficient and scaling. So that improves the bottom line massively with scale. And then also improving for the planet. So we want to initiate like a zero plastic packaging goal next year, which is like compostable ice packs, trying to get rid of our plastic containers, which we've done great to offer a recycled plastic container. And we want to just do that one better. And then also we're trying to initiate something which would be a zero food waste goal, which we're really excited about that. And there'll be more to kind of elaborate on that later.
So just might just summarize a little bit about what Damien said there. So for people looking at, okay, there's only so much we can talk about what the future looks like with the conditions of this, but very simplified is that we know the target market and we know that we can increase the amount. We're still very small in the big pond that we spoke about before. So we know that target. So the guys have had 3 or 4 years worth of experience now, looking at lots of different things, and now we've got a nice base to say, okay, here's the target market, let's go find them with more direct advertising, more of the right events, and to really pick them up. And then we've also got on the retail side, that's one thing we're touching on because we want to do a little bit more testing That's another thing you've seen brands similar to us start to go into retail. We think that's got its role to be in the targeted areas to start to expand revenue that way. And then increase baskets. We can put as many products into that direct home delivery as we can. So it's just a matter of choosing the right ones as we grow and then expand that so it's sustainable as far as we can handle what can go in there. The guys have got some great products now that they're starting to add to that selection. So that's going in. And then, when you're 4 years ago, when you're starting off, you've got a lot of great aspirations on how you can be more efficient. It's until you get the scale that the guys are starting to get now, they can really start to leverage that. So the conversations, like Damien said, when with the farmers, with logistics providers, etc., all those conversations get a lot better when they see that you're growing and you're delivering what you said and you're growing your business, and those partners have been part of that. So, really, really nice things to be able to leverage now and to put it into the future growth of the business. And of course, the last column, wonderful, the more we sell and make an impact, and the better off, we're going to hit on these other pillars.
Okay, so we'll just touch a little bit on the use of funds. So one key thing, obviously you can see the minimum and maximum. We find that in the minimum and maximum side, one of the big key things would be an NDIS resource. So someone really specific in that area to help with that growth. Also, CRM, customer journeys, would be a big one as well. And then potentially down the track would be the sales, retail, what we're talking about, which we're wanting to refine a little bit more before we push. Marketing is obviously a big one in all different areas. So digital marketing, affiliates, events, all those types of things. And then also you see down there, which you've got new products and offerings. So they're our biggest push for the use of funds for this raise. And then why a unique opportunity now? So I've just got some notes here. So basically, we've been in business for 3.5 years now, so we've proven the model. So we know it works. We know what we need to do. We know what we need to do to scale. We've really set it up now, ready to scale. So we feel that we've dialed it in. It's just now taking it to the next level, which is kind of touching on the next point, which is scaling for revenue opportunities, and also more cost savings with that scaling. So that's a big one. And then basically, again, it's like we are the only 100% certified organic, plant-based, ready-made meal provider. So it stands out in the crowd. We are niche in that sense, and it really keeps us different to the rest. And we have our hand on our heart that we live by what we're supplying. So yeah, and basically, this is a little bit of what our community stayed in 2021. We haven't updated it quite yet for 2022. I want to thank everyone for joining, and we'll open up for questions. And thank you.
Fantastic. Congratulations, by the way, on building this business in 3.5 years. It's a lot of revenue to generate in a short period of time. So I think just looking at those slides and really recognizing how much growth you've had is really quite significant. I mean, it's why we were very excited to work with you in the first place. So for everybody who's here, I'd love you to use the Q&A function really to ask as many questions as you'd like, in really going into as much detail, even about equity crowdfunding or Garden Vegan, specifically in this session. So I guess one of the things, even reading that and going through it, one of the questions which I had was really around the retail strategy. This is, of course, something which you could spend a lot of your time on, or a small amount of your time on, because you're getting so much traction online. But what would that retail strategy look like as a business?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that one.
Yeah.
So the business, the core is direct. So the core is direct into homes. The retail strategy would play a couple of roles. So one, definitely revenue role. So definitely pre-sales because of that. But also the primary purpose would be to make sure we get more exposure to the brand. So people that want to buy 1 or 2 meals, test it themselves, grab it, because it's not everyone's going to plan so well and get all the orders in by 11 o'clock on Sunday night, but it's okay. I'm stuck. I want to go grab some Garden Vegan. That's what I use for all the great reasons the guys have said. and they can buy it. So it's quite interesting actually, Robert, about where we might put it. When you look at the target market, and what you see a lot of this now popping up in petrol convenience stores because people want it close. They might be at the office, working from a shared office, the office, and they're grabbing it for lunch. Certainly one of the workspaces I was in, that's most people were grabbing those meals, heating them up, and working away.
And I guess one thing Damien and I realized again a few weeks ago when we went down to Sydney is the lack of options out there that meet our own dietary requirements. So unless we have Gardener Vegan in our bag with us, it's very hard to get something certified organic that is whole food and plant-based without any of the additives, preservatives, sugar, etc. So maybe it's a bit selfish of me to say that, but there definitely needs to be something out there when you are traveling and around to grab and go that meets your dietary needs.
I think most Australians can agree when you're on the road or when you're on a business trip or even on a holiday, you just don't feel good when you come home if you're eating out all the time, and just to have good quality food available on the run, I think it just makes a huge difference. And there's nobody doing it. We're going to be the first, so we're really excited about that.
I was having a conversation last week just about actually parts of Australia, and I know that this is a definite problem in the US. I don't know too much about it in Australia, but somebody was telling me a lot more about these regions where the only access to food is actually fast food, and those are huge issues for certain individuals who really would have to travel so far to actually just go and gain access to fresh produce. And that's a huge problem. And that's like what ultimately startups like yours can go and address and really try and, get in front of the right kind of customers who go, well, actually, this is an awesome product for me. In seeing a few questions come through here, it's great to see that there's a lot of love for your business from your customers here, which is great. Andrew has said, you mentioned no oil. I've grown up thinking that olive oil was healthy. Is it not?
So when it comes to oil, obviously in today's society, everything is saturated with oil. We've got olive oil, mainly seed oils. Oil is something that, it's such a huge process. It takes a lot of olives to create just a small amount of olive oil. When we look at oil is a highly refined processed food. It lacks fiber and it's extremely calorie dense. And when you consume it in high volumes or regularly, it can lead to things like, issues with your blood sugar regulation. It can have issues, obviously, with weight control and many other factors as well. So providing a whole food, there's obviously natural oils in a whole food, right? But you're also getting the fiber, you're getting all the micronutrients and the macronutrients out of the food. So you really want to be eating a food at its most natural state. And that's what we're providing. And for our customers, they can eat the healthiest possible food. And then on the weekends, if they go out or they're cooking something at home, they can add a bit of oil. But when you look at the history of humans, oil wasn't a big factor in the human diet. It's quite a new thing when you look at our evolution. So we really should be factoring that in to really reduce the amount of oil we have and consume more of the whole foods that are available to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike here has said, well done so far. What's your current geographic footprint and what are your plans for regional Australia?
I'll answer this. So we currently deliver nationally, except Northern Territory, which we're aiming to achieve hopefully very soon. So once we do that, we'll be delivering to 4,500 different postcodes, so around Australia. So it's a large area. So it would be good if he maybe could get on our website and put his postcode in and see if we deliver to that area, because we do deliver to most areas in Australia. So if we don't, let us know and we'll try to open that area up.
Well, coverage is 92% of Australia. So it's the guys have done a great job actually getting a national footprint for this. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's really significant. Yeah. And a question here from Brooke. Hi team, firstly, thank you for the presentation. I'm a huge fan of Gardener Vegan and I love the why behind your story. Your year-on-year growth is very impressive. Just curious, how has growth been over the last 6 months, taking into account the macroeconomic environment with interest rate rises? Great question, Brooke. Thank you very much.
That's a good question, actually.
Should I answer that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we have noticed there has been a decrease in sales in a way, but we've also had an increase in sales, but we've kind of increasing costs in some of our products, which we haven't passed on to our customers. We've kept it, and now refining ways to still keep our quality of our meal, deliver the same price to our customers, but also refine our processes and procedures to really cost saving. Yeah.
I think say a little bit more on that as Damien said, so the growth not as high, but however the core customer is quite a little bit less exposed to some of those macro things that are happening. So I'm not saying that not everyone's hurting a little bit, but core customer is generally a smaller household, 1 or 2 person household, professional, female. And then the guys have worked hard to make sure that there's new options to sort of lower the absolute cost or add some value to the business. And some of those are in place now, some of those are coming, whether it's better value on the family meals, light meals that have come out for those. There's a few options there to make sure that the customer can sort of navigate their way through and find options when things are a bit tighter. And also the other focus that the guys are quite excited to accelerate is, once a little bit more investment comes into the business, is pursue these growth areas. Like I said, we're only a very small part of that bigger business. So despite of the great numbers that you've seen, the great news is it's still quite small, which means that we can grow the business, despite of what's going on. It's still small. There's a lot of market for us to attract.
And we've done very little marketing when you look over the last 3 years up until date, and I think marketing is a huge area we really want to delve into with this crowdfunding. So we truly believe the business is run on very minimal at the moment, and it's doing really well for where we're at. So we're really excited to be able to put some effort into marketing.
Yeah, just touch on Ben, we do run it very lean. So it's one key thing for us is that we want to keep that way as well. And it's definitely a big key thing for us.
I find it pretty amazing to hear that you don't do that much marketing, or you didn't do that much marketing to get going. I mean, what was it? Were people just literally saying like, oh, I've bought this product, and then sharing it with 6 of their friends? Was there a huge amount of word of mouth? Like what was the real tipping point?
Social media has been a big one. But also again, it comes to our product. Like people have been dying for something like this. Like before we'd done this business, Mel and I used to go to the shops, go buy it all, prep for an hour, 2 hours, like or more, like every night or on the weekend, Sunday, prepping our own almond milk. Like we used to do everything by hand and prepping, where a lot of people don't have time. So like we didn't have time. Like when I was in construction before this, like I was working 12 hours, 14 hours a day. I didn't have that time to come home and spend an hour or 2 hours in the kitchen. So, but we wanted to eat this way. So being able to offer this product that everyone can get conveniently in their fridge, heat in 3 minutes and eat, or 10 if they want to do in the oven or whatever. It's offering such a system or model that someone needs, I think most.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to circle back to a point that you mentioned before around not increasing your price, is that something you're fairly fixed on and you're going to try and commit to as long as possible? Or are you still, I mean, given how everything is increasing in cost, would you still revisit that in the future if you needed to?
I'm happy to answer. So that business strategy, the Garden Vegan price is relatively high in the market versus the direct competitors that we had. There's other competitors that were not listed, probably smaller niche ones. So that, but so that's one. So we're quite conscious of that to make sure that that's probably that's a stretch. But because of the growth in the business, I mean, the beauty is that, as we said before, in that efficiency part, we can just keep addressing the costs that are there as the business grows. So we're in this nice spot in the business where the volumes now start to make a difference in how we negotiate things, how we can look at operations, freight, working closely with farmers. So all those, we sort of said before, is where the opportunity is. So we're quite conscious to make sure that we're focusing on that before we run off and just put prices up like everyone else. We sort of see that as a better path.
That's a really sensible approach. I'd love to hear it, because of course there's prices being increased in so many industries, and it's great to hear that you're sitting back and taking a longer term approach to price increases. That's fantastic.
The guys are very passionate about a lean business, so it's not the sort of, it's not the sort of business asking for money to go make more losses and keep trying to grow a market in the hope of a better day. It's like, obviously the more detail will come out in the next couple of days about the P&Ls and how it's been run, so people can look.
Yeah, it's, I mean, when you've got a business that's all about sustainability, it's going to translate into the business's long-term future as well.
Just to touch on that as well, like that's been a big key thing for us, is like our packaging wise is like probably 2 or 3 times more expensive than most of our competitors, because we actually want to lead in that sustainability mark. So that's a big key thing for us as well. We could have went back to just normal general containers, plastic liners, like all these other things, but we chose not to because we believe in being sustainable business. So that's a big thing for us as well. Like it's
That's great. Fantastic. Andrew here has asked a question around a lot of diets being I'll start again. A lot of diets and plans both being X-free, e.g. gluten, but do we not need some gluten? And do you endeavor to help or advise some people on how to address this need to replace something like gluten?
That's actually a really good question. So we do have grains in our menu, so they're just not grains that contain gluten. Gluten is actually not essential for humans. And the only reason we are gluten-free is because there's so many people in Australia that suffer with gluten intolerance or are celiacs. So we wanted to provide a product that everybody could eat without having to, look for, I can't eat this, I can't eat this, because, I mean, let's be honest, in Australia now, gluten intolerance is actually rife, and we provide grains within our menu that just don't contain gluten. So all the nutrition someone needs to thrive is actually within our menu.
So it might be worth, one thing we sort of didn't bring out, and it's in the words, but to even talk about was the focus on the nutritionalists and the health profession, and what we're sort of doing there to make sure, like, as we go along,
Correct.
We're meeting those.
Yeah, so we work really closely with a lot of health professionals, from doctors, governing bodies of doctors that are working for nutrition, naturopaths, dietitians, nutritionists. We cater our I guess nutritional philosophy to work alongside these health professionals, which is something that we're super passionate about, and that is that direct line to the customer as well. So when we're designing our menu, sending out samples, we work really closely with these types of individuals to help us ensure that we are getting all the nutrients that our customers need to thrive.
Yeah, and I just want to make a point too that we don't say that gluten's unhealthy at all. That's not something that we say or preach. We just leave it out purely for that fact that so many Australians can't consume it now. But you can most definitely thrive and get all the nutrition you need without gluten.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, great. And Jessica, great question here. Can you talk more about your food scrap delivery to animal sanctuaries? How do you arrange this? Or decide which sanctuaries to deliver to? Is this something that you can see being able to continue into the future?
Most definitely. So we've delivered to a few different sanctuaries over the years. It's been really cool. During COVID, obviously, it made it very difficult because a lot of our food scraps were going into northern New South Wales to head over Who's Farm Haven, was one of our biggest animal sanctuaries that were actually coming and picking up a lot of our food scraps. So we had the big issues with our kitchen. People weren't allowed to come to our kitchen. And now we're getting to the point now where we're starting to take a lot of our leftover food scraps ourselves to different areas and help feed it to different animals that are being cared for. But coming to 2023, with the way the market's going, everything's going, we are looking at establishing some really good networks with multiple different animal sanctuaries around our region, whether it's a bit further up north towards the Sunshine Coast and obviously northern New South Wales as well.
Yeah, great.
Oh, sorry. And then obviously there's also the other factor as well, which Damien can talk about. So it's not only with the animal sanctuaries that we're going to be delivering food, but we've also got another initiative that we're going to be implementing to make sure there's no food waste.
Well, we'll talk about it a bit later.
Okay.
Next time we need to ponder on and not give everything away.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the top secret.
We've got some awesome coming. We've got some great coming.
That's great. That's great. And just a question here from Jessica asking, how does it stack up for households of 2? It says you can't order for 2 people at the moment. Seems like a big gap. Also, how does that work out economically speaking?
So we do have, it's on our menu, they're called family range. So basically it's not as large a range, which we will be developing more range of that, but basically it's the meal without the rice. So basically you can buy, say, a 600 grams of, say, butter tofu, and then you can buy our side dishes we have. So you buy the family size meal, buy some side dishes, then instead of buying individual meals for yourself, you then basically cost saving by adding those things together, and it ends up being way more cost effective to do it that way as a couple. If it was to be on the plan side, we don't actually at the moment offer 2, say, health plans together, which we are looking into. We've had that question asked a couple of times now, but if you were just doing, say, an a la carte, just choosing what you want, there is that option to use those family size range to then buy sides. Or if you don't want to, you can just cook your rice at home and then basically add it together, and it comes pretty cheap. So
great. Oh, that's awesome. And another question here, what plans, if any, have you got in place to push this through the education sector so our kids can carry this on?
Oh, that's well, we would love that.
We would absolutely love that. Big vision. I don't know if anyone remembers Healthy Harold. I would love Garden Vegan to be at the forefront when it comes to education, but as I'm sure you know, there are a lot of red tape and loopholes to get through when you're dealing with government bodies. But it is on the wish list, and we will get there. I can't say when, but it is something that Benny and I are passionate about, and that we will work towards to see how we can infiltrate that space.
Yeah, if anyone knows any ways as well, they might have any kind of ways in, then we're all ears, because it's something that we would love to do. As Benny mentioned, we're all about education, so however we can educate people to live a better life.
If you just had to take one look at our social media page, and we're continually educating about food, better ways to live for optimal health. So since day one, this is something that we've wanted to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just another question below around the health factors. Considering your health focus on the meals, does microwaving them counter the health benefits?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the individual. We do say to a lot of people when they do purchase our food, on each packet, it shows you how you can heat the food up in the oven, on the stovetop, or in a microwave. Personally, us guys, we don't have microwaves at home. But everybody's different. Everybody's on their own health journey. It really depends on, what you have access to. I do know personally, like, I don't use a microwave at home, but if I've been out with a meal and I've gone to an office, that's the only option I have to heat up the meal. So that's what I'll use. But you do not have to heat the meals up in a microwave if you choose not to. That's definitely up to the individual.
The instructions are there for 3
different ways. The instructions are there for 3 different ways to heat it up. So you can,
solves every problem. Like in every scenario, you've got one option. And a question here, which I'd love to actually kind of split out into 2 questions, which one of them always comes up when we go through any of these sessions. Mike here has asked if you can talk a little bit more about the capital raising process, the timeline, equity, the opportunity, and shareholding. I guess just in terms of the timeline, do you want to just cover that in terms of your expression of interest campaign closing, your investment offer launching, and the fact that effectively to gain access to the investment offer launching this week, you have to be on the expression of interest list?
Yeah, so if you're expression of interest list, we've got, I think, until 12 o'clock, Sydney, Melbourne time on Thursday to get your expression of interest in. From there, there's a private window for anyone who's expressed interest to get in before it goes to public, which can be between 24 to 48 hours. And then from there, it goes to offer for 2 weeks, and it closes on the 1st of December. Is there any more you want from that?
No, that's perfect. In terms of the capital raising process and the investment process, I'm happy to send out guides to anybody who just wants to email me personally and asks for a little bit more of a step-by-step process in terms of how it looks. In terms of equity as well, the valuation of the company will be available in the offer document when it actually does launch this week. So the offer document is something that you can go ahead and download with the access to the investment offer as soon as it launches. I know the opportunity you've been kind of covering really throughout this presentation. And I think that there's one aspect of that which I'd really love to drive into a little bit more in detail, which is the marketing which you've been doing so far, and really sort of some of the other strategies that you might be looking to dive into in a little bit more detail, because I look at this business and just think, I mean, you probably sit down and have a brainstorm about this all the time. But I think that with the fact that you've launched and social media has been great, and you've done quite a lot of marketing probably now to get to where you are, the digital marketing strategy must be a really interesting one.
Okay, so yeah, basically since we started, we've really only focused on, say, paid digital from Facebook and Google, which we haven't had large budgets to play with. So everything for Garden of Vegan has been self-funded since we started. So and all profits have been put back into the business. So it's been a very tight game since we've started, with low budgets to really spend on marketing. So that's probably one. There's obviously, as you know now, there's literally that many different platforms that you can do digital marketing on. So we haven't explored any of those other platforms other than Facebook and Google. So we have maybe 5 to 6 different other platforms to either have brand awareness campaigns going or have CPA campaigns going on those platforms. So there's an opportunity there. We also want to explore affiliate marketing. So there's a big area there, which I think some of other big brands have done really well in that space. So if we can somehow tap into that, I think could also help for the marketing growth. Another one is events. We did a little bit when we first started, when we had a little bit of time, but as business grew, we got way too busy and we thought we would have had a lot more time to do those events. But now obviously COVID's opened up and we can travel there. We want to really start engaging in a lot of these key events that really align with our business, because we feel that would give us enough exposure just in those events. And they're not massive capital outlays as well to get those growths and get in front of those people that are kind of key people for our market.
To touch on that as well, we do have a lot of the health professionals that we work with asking, well, how can I recommend Garden of Vegan, and is there any return for me? So we are in the process of testing some affiliate programs for our health professionals that might in clinic want to offer our meal to their set clients as well. So that's a whole nother sector that needs a little bit more work as well, and more testing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, sorry, Nick, did you want to?
Oh, no. I think the guys have covered it well. I mean, the main point is it's broad, making sure the brand is growing and people understand the standards behind the brand. That we've gone through the choices that have been made, what you're actually buying when you're buying it. So you really trust what Garden of Vegan's doing, and all these touch points that the guys have spoken about, not only on the social media, but like I said, the events, when you're going to a nutritionist, when you're at health retreats, when you're all these points that comes back where we match up, is they come back to Garden of Vegan as an area that they continue that journey and be healthier.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. And in terms of one thing which I actually really wanted to know was whether or not you're doing subscriptions for large majority of your customers, or if you kind of actually, why don't you talk a little bit more about subscriptions before I make a bunch of assumptions?
Yeah, okay. So probably sits 50-50 in our business. So we do have a large subscription base, but a lot of that people will come and go. So it's good that we have the subscription model, because a lot of people like to set and forget and come in, pause. They can pause, cancel, or skip at any time. One thing a bit different for us, we have like it shows you the next 6 upcoming orders, so you can kind of plan ahead as well. So if you know you're going away, you can come in and skip that order, and know that in 3 weeks' time that's not going to come, which basically tells you the delivery days and everything as well. And then the rest is pretty much just people coming in that just want to order every week because they don't like that subscription model. But there is a stigma around subscriptions in ways that it's kind of, you're locked in, but we don't lock anyone in at all. So you don't have to, you can come and have a subscription for 2 weeks and then leave if you want. It's up to you to really control how that is. So we've tried to build a subscription model as well that is easy kind of use, but we're always, if there is parts that are hard, we're always up for feedback to how we can improve it and make it better and more user friendly. So
And the NDIS is largely subscription as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
which when we transitioned over to the new website, the one previously we couldn't offer subscription to NDIS. That was one of the big key things that we wanted to do for our NDIS customers with the new website build, which has been massive for our NDIS customer, because it just makes it simple for them that they know that every week the food's going to come, where before they had to remember to go in and order and they forgot, then the meals didn't come, where now, because we offer that, it basically allows that kind of free of mind that their food's going to come every week, no matter what.
Yeah, I love that approach.
I think just another point on that is, as we're talking about what the future looks like, we do have some new ideas in that area. There might be around people getting ready for occasions, seasons, etc. And it's just touching on a few of those to help people achieve those more shorter, medium-term goals, as well, the longer-term goals that they've got. So we leave it at that for now. So, but yeah,
that's a really sensible approach. And really just the last part of Mike's question here in terms of the shareholding. So when you come in as a shareholder in the equity crowdfunding regime, so essentially it's called CSF, you have the option to purchase ordinary shares with voting rights. So everybody gets the same ordinary shares with voting rights that are associated with their shares, and everybody's coming in at the same valuation. I have not, and it's actually probably a record, not seen a question around how to exit shares. So really, and kind of just talking about this, I'll throw over to you to provide a little bit more of an opportunity to kind of talk about that as you grow the company into the future. But with a company, when you're investing into it at this stage, it's important to note that it's not a liquid investment. So you can't necessarily just sell the shares over a certain period of time. The company will absolutely consider, but not be limited to, dividends, a share buyback scheme, an IPO, a trade sale. But all of those will, of course, have to align with your strategy as a business and where you kind of grow and what you look to do. But in knowing that this comes up so much, I really just thought I'd raise this so that we can start to talk a little bit about this, because it is definitely on a lot of potential investors' minds when they do invest into a company and know that really they're going to be invested into the company for quite a few years to come. So yeah, if you'd like to talk a little bit more about what you'd like that exit strategy to look like in a certain period of time, which can be quite ambiguous, then please go ahead.
Yeah. So on this one, like you said, Robin, I mean, it's still an early, we've got 4 years of experience in this company. It's growing well, but it's still early stage for a company and still a long way to go. So when you look at that for investors, it's a growth company. You'll see, and we included 3 years of P&L to make sure people can sort of feel that see that journey. And they can understand, but we chose to show more history to show that we've been investing for the growth. That will continue. So that's one part. And of course, I suppose if you look at other similar businesses in the market, to do a business like this and to scale, it does require investment as we go along. So I suppose that are the sort of points that can give investors opportunities if I'm looking at that. So that's, I suppose, without that plan will evolve as we scale up and team decide they want a new factory, big one, to get to 3 million meals. So they're the sort of events that'll make us consider, okay, how are we going to fund this? What are we going to do? And then come back. But the message, I suppose, it's run sustainably, so we're going to be around in the future and run it sensibly and keep growing.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, the funds raised in this, in this round are purely going to be used to fund growth in the business, and that's absolutely the general focus that we can see here. And really just, a huge amount of growth that you've had as a business means that you're just going to constantly need to be pumping your profits back into that growth as a business to really try and sustain and also just supply to to the nation itself, which clearly demands your product. And as we come up towards about 4 minutes to the end, and we've answered everybody's questions, I'd love to invite anybody to ask any final questions, but also just throw over to the team to really just address anything else that you really feel that we haven't touched on in too much detail, and really just round out this webinar.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people, we've had a lot of great phone calls with our expression of interest over the last 2 weeks. A lot of great long conversations, and I guess a lot of people want to have faith in who we are and what we're doing as a business. I think when you see a lot of these big businesses, you see people like it's all about profit, it's about money, and you see a lot of bickering and stuff in the background. Where one unique thing about us is from the very beginning we sat down, talked about what we wanted to achieve as people, and what was our ethos. And we're not going to sit here and say we haven't made a lot of mistakes, because we have in the first year and a half, a lot of mistakes. We've learned from them. There's been a lot of stressful times. We had the bushfires, which made it difficult to get food to our kitchen to cook, and even to with logistics as well. We had issues with the floods, with COVID. We've had non-stop issues since we've opened this business, non-stop stress since we opened this business. But one thing that we have had that's been really positive is our team. Us three have supported each other throughout this entire journey. When one of us has been down, the other two will lift us up. And this has really got us to where we are now, where we've gotten through so many tough periods as people in a business together, that we see this business as a long-term thing, and we feel like we can get through anything and really take this business off. We're really confident in ourselves and in our business.
Fantastic. It's great to hear. I mean, because your business clearly does full circle care about every single issue it's trying to address. And I think that the packaging is probably a clear sign that you're more about just going after your profits than a lot of other businesses might be in this space, and trying to sort of bean count every single expense and just say, okay, well, how can we make as much money out of this as possible? And the sustainable approach is absolutely what the consumer today cares probably one of the most about. And as a result of addressing that, it's really setting yourselves up for winning in the future.
That's what we put our face on our business for. I mean, you look at most other businesses, like a lot of people don't put their face to their business. We're happy to do it because we believe in what we're doing, and we know we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Emily, just to address your point, we are recording the session and we will send it around to everybody, so you can watch the beginning of the session. Very glad to have saved you there. And in relation to that, I think we've come to the very end of the session. And I really just want to thank everybody for your questions, you guys for building this awesome business so we get the opportunity to sit down and do this session. And for everybody who's here and hasn't expressed interest to invest yet, I will send you the link so you can go ahead and check out the virtual company profile for Garden of Vegan, so you can express interest and then gain early access to the investment offer when it launches this week. I'm actually so excited to be launching the investment offer for you guys. So genuinely, thank you so much to everybody who's here and has turned up for the session. We'll send around the recording. And yeah, really just thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.